Hi, I'm Duncan with Creed Realty. I'm a local realtor here in Virginia Beach, and I want to bring you this market update. I'd like to cover an overview of what we saw last year in 2024, and then give you some thoughts as we get into the market here in 2025. So the first thing I'm going to cover are a few stats from last year. I like to cover four stats. First is going to be sales prices, then number of sales, then I'll talk about time on market, and then our inventory levels. All right, so let's dig right in. So the first thing is going to be sales prices last year. The median was 380,000, and when you compare that to the previous year, it was up about $20,000, or that comes out to 5.6% increase year over year. It was a modest increase compared to the previous years, but the previous years also had rapid increases due to COVID and extremely low rates. Next is number of sales. Last year in Virginia Beach, we had 5,739 properties sold, and this is just residential properties, so I'm including detached and attached homes, including condos and single-family homes. That is the lowest we've seen in about at least 10 years. So historically, it was a low amount, but there have been less buyers in the marketplace as well, so we're still in a good place. Values are increasing, so we're really not concerned right now with lower number of sales. The next chart we'll look at is the number of days, or the days on market. This is typically from the date that it's listed until the date it's marked as pending, and it's not always the actual number of days on the market. Sometimes agents will wait until after the home inspection to change it in our computer system. So right now, or last year was at 13 days, the previous year was 11. So there was a slight increase last year, but still I think the actual number is much less than that. And certainly historically, it's less than 2 weeks is a very short period of time on the market. The next chart we'll look at is the inventory. And what we do is we look at how many houses have been selling over the last several months. We just get a monthly average. And then we look at how many houses are on the market today. Then using that monthly average of how many sell per month, we can predict how long it's going to take to sell through the inventory, or the number of houses that are on the market today. And that gives us the direction of pricing. And depending on how long it takes to sell the current inventory, then we can predict our prices going up rapidly, or our sellers offering concessions. And so if it's less than 6 months, that's typically considered a seller's market, where houses sell faster. They sell for typically closer to full price, if not over full price. And then if it were a different market, say back in the Great Recession, 2008 and 9, back then the inventory was 10 months, 11 months, 14 months, where sellers were dropping prices. They were offering concessions to sell, typically taking 2 to 3 or 4 months to sell. So right now, over the past few years, it's still been less than 2 months in Virginia Beach. And in fact, when I look at the chart here, it hasn't been above 2 months since the start of the pandemic. So with this inventory still very low, we expect prices to continue to increase. The next chart we'll look at are the mortgage rates as published by Freddie Mac. So last week, the average conventional rate was 6.95%. And typically, government rates like VA or FHA loans would be a little bit lower than that, sometimes like 0.5% lower. So you can see that it's increased since September. And when we look at the entire year, as we got to late spring and summertime, the rates started to decline a little bit, and this helped fuel the market last summer and gave buyers confidence in taking advantage of the rate at that time. Already in the new year in 2025, despite the high rates, we've seen the market activity already pick up. The next thing I want to talk about is an overview as published by Freddie Mac, and they talk about the market and rates. And one thing that they mentioned about mortgage rates, they said mortgage rates remain higher than expected in 2024, unlike last year when many were anticipating that mortgage rates would decline. In early 2025, the prevailing sentiment is that rates will stay higher for longer. This may impact prospective buyers and sellers as we get into spring. And while last year prospective buyers and sellers anticipating rate declines may have stayed on the sidelines waiting for lower rates, this year they may make a move earlier, as they are not expecting rates to move lower. This should increase home sales relative to last year, though the absolute level of sales is still likely to remain well below historical averages. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And as far as home sales, they also go on to say that in 2025, we expect the pace of house price appreciation to moderate from the level seen in 2024, while still maintaining a positive trajectory. And the inventory levels I've already covered for the Virginia Beach market absolutely point to that as well. And this positive house price growth coupled with increased home sales is expected to drive purchase volumes higher than in 2024. And slightly lower rates in 25 compared to last year should also lead to higher refinance volumes. The next thing I want to talk about is affordability. All right, with prices going up, about 20,000 from 360 to 380 last year, the question is that sustainable? Can buyers afford it? And the truth is that wages have gone up too. And in fact, when I look at the Census Bureau, they pulled data from the American Community Survey of 2023, and that showed that the median income in Virginia Beach was $91,000. Now that's old data, that's over a year old now, so we can certainly know that wages are higher now. Also in that study, when I dig into the numbers, I found that when you look at family households, that median income level was $125,000. If we look at the current price of $380,000, assume a 10% down payment at the current rate published by Freddie Mac is 6.95%, that total payment would be about $2,760. That's principal, interest, and I estimated for taxes and insurance. And with the current income of $91,000, or at least that's the current published income, they can afford about a $2,500 a month payment. So there's about a roughly $200 discrepancy there, meaning if you counted every family, could they afford that? But again, when I reference the numbers, that family households make about $125,000 versus just a household, and then the fact that 18 to 20% of buyers are actually paying cash, that I think the prices are going to be sustainable. We may see slight softening in the interest rates, but as long as interest rates are 6.5% or maybe even 6.25%, the prices are definitely supported by that level of income and by that interest rate. So with that, I think prices will continue to go up. And if you're a buyer, what does this mean? That means you can't really wait on the sidelines any longer. All right, so prices are definitely going up. They're not going to go up as fast as they have been over the last few years, but you're not going to see any price declines. Now, as far as trying to time the market with interest rates, again, they expect very, very slight declines this year. So it's not wise to time the market as far as rates either. So the best strategy is just to find out what you're looking for, figure out the best locations that you want to be in, and then as soon as a property becomes available in one of those locations, I suggest taking advantage of it. Getting a house now that fits your needs for at least 3 to 5 years, and then if you need more space or your needs change, then at that point you could sell. All right, and if you want to talk about it more in detail, or if you have any specific questions for me, you can reach out to me anytime. I've got my contact info linked to the video or linked on my profile, so feel free to check that out. And also, if you have any questions about markets that are outside of Virginia Beach, I work in all areas of Hampton Roads, including Norfolk, Chesapeake, Portsmouth, Suffolk, Hampton, Newport News, Yorktown, even up to Williamsburg. So the numbers are slightly different depending on the city and depending on the price range that you're looking in. So I'm happy to pull these stats and provide you specific advice for your situation. So once again, I'm Brian Duncan, local realtor here in Virginia Beach. Thanks for tuning in and have a great day.